Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Monday night, 8 p.m. The UK may be in darkness now, but it is certainly going to be eventful and colourful for the next few hours here on the Online Darts Live Lounge. Myself, Phil Bars, and Dan Simpson here for the next couple of hours for episode 223. Good evening, buddy. How's things?
It's all right, mate. Yeah, it's all good. It's been it's very good actually. I'm tired. Other than I'm a bit tired today, but other than that, everything is going pretty good. Work's busy as ever. But and this will shock you as much as it will shock anyone. But over the weekend, I watched loads of darts. And that is a real struggle for me at the minute. And not only that, but I didn't watch it recorded on catch up or highlights. I literally so I managed to sit in a chair. And so I tell you what, so it was our wedding anniversary at the weekend on Saturday. And this is how you know you've been married for a long time, is we celebrated our wedding anniversary by Mrs. S taking the boys away for the weekend and leaving me on my own. It's the best wedding anniversary we've ever had. The darts was on all weekend. Newcastle won. It was fantastic. It was good. I actually got to watch quite a lot of the darts live, which is rare for me. I'm normally on a catch up or fast forwarding things, and I thought it was really, really good. I thought it was a brilliant tournament. I know that it gets a bit of stick and the seedings are a bit all over because of the nature of how it comes about, but I was thoroughly entertained. I know you were backwards and forwards, so you were there in person. You travelled, didn't you? How was the trip? Did it all go to plan? I know it didn't for everybody.
It was all right. It was all right to fair. Look, Dortmund, it's not the easiest place to get to now, but once you get over that, look, it was a decent tournament. It's one of my favourites, and I think it is massively underrated as a tournament, the European Championships. For me, it is right up there. The venue's decent. The crowds were really, really good. It creates drama. It manifests chaos, which is what we like. And look, we'll talk about the tournament more in depth shortly. But no, it was a really, really good weekend, and I think it sets up the remainder of the year brilliant. I actually prefer the European Championships to the World Grand Prix.
Oh, now that's bold. That's bold. Is that because you get a nice trip to Germany? Is that because there's a bit of there's some schnitzels and a night, you get a bit of scenery and you can travel a bit. It's certainly a more fun trip than Leicester. If I was going to spend a weekend somewhere.
Look, it's just one of those ones where I really, really like it. It was good. Some good gossip going on and so on, which we'll talk about later on.
Few hangovers, I'd like to bet. The ale is very strong in that part of the world, and I think there was a few people I was in touch with out there that I think had partook. I think sometimes people go and have a few beers in that part of the world, and it surprises it can catch them a bit blind. It can be a little bit stronger than you're used to back at home, I think, isn't it?
Right, let's jump into the chat room. Malachi, let's do this as we're going to say hello. Let's get
the crowd on the chat room on screen. A new feature that we're always adding bits, aren't we? We're always doing a bit more. Perfect for question time and predictions. This feature, I like it.
Yeah. Malachi is in. Del is in, and yes, this time next week.
Oh no, because it's not quite, is it? It's near bonfire. You got to give it bonfire night. I've got to give it bonfire night. I'm seeing you bonfire night, aren't I? I'm going to see you we're gonna meet. We're meeting in London, aren't we?
We are. Yeah.
I need to see we need to find out if there's a firework display we can check out while we're there. We need to see if we can go and stand on the bridge or something and there's got to be something on in London on the 5th of November, aren't there?
How we doing? Dave is in. Kay, how we doing? Tom is in. Scott. Owen, how we doing? Shouty. Chris is in. Paul is in his sick bed. Hope you're feeling better soon. Mark is in. James, Maximus, Dixie, how we doing? Wayne says hi all and hi chat room. Cormac is in. Says evening all. I'll tell you what, it is rammed.
Busy, isn't it? It's busy. There's lots.
Naz, Kieran, Dave, James, good evening. Jamie, Nicholas Connor is in. Andy, how we doing, buddy? Warren, I'll tell you what, you lot are absolutely rocking it tonight in the chat room. Stephen, how we doing? Rob,
it's right. It's proper busy, isn't it?
It's Andy is in.
Have we got a sing on or something? Have we done so? Is there something? Is there a guest that I haven't been told about?
I haven't said anything silly recently, so it's not.
I was going to say, I'm trying to think. Has one of us done something? Have we put? I'm not a big social media user anymore. I don't think I rarely get myself in trouble, but if everyone's getting in for something, I must be expecting.
Right, let's jump right into it. Let's go to the European Championships. And look, first of all, congratulations to Gian van Veen. We said it wouldn't surprise us if he was the next, and I thought he was sensational all weekend.
It was so good. It was so good. And it made for, like, we talked about it last week, right? Didn't we? It's what catches people's attention, what makes people tune in, what forces them to come back and watch. It's not just the sport, it's the story. And what he does is he adds to the story, doesn't he? Like, and let's be honest, if Littler wasn't, if he hadn't had the couple of years that he's had, we'd be looking at Gian van Veen and saying, like, this is the future of darts right here. This is the next big thing. But it's just I think it's unbelievably exciting. It's such a huge moment. We've seen so many players that get talked about as that they're gonna be, they're gonna be really good. They're gonna establish themselves. They could win things, and there's so many of them that just don't quite get there. They never actually get it. And in the year that he holds the World Youth Championship, he picks up a major trophy, and he does establish himself as, one of the players that is going to carry the game forward. I just think it's a wonderful story. I was really, really pleased to see it. But again, it's very watchable, very, very watchable games of darts. He creates or he gets himself involved in games that are just amazing to watch. He makes you get off your seat, or certainly brings you to the edge of it. There's a story pumping around in the background because he's cut his finger, and there's a bit of, I just think it's such a good story, and again, just more good things for darts.
Yeah. Good evening, Mark. Good evening, Gio. I hope you're good. Yeah. Look, he's got quite an aggressive diamond grip on his darts, and he nicked it on his thumb, and he was saying he couldn't stop it bleeding, and at times his darts were slipping because of the blood. And I saw a shot on social of one of his darts sat in the treble 20, dried blood on the dart and everything.
We've seen players let's be honest, it's normally when they've given the board a thump, isn't it? That's normally when it happens, because of those blade boards that can be so sharp. I can't remember a player, because by the sounds of things, it was literally the friction on the grip itself. He's not caught the point. He's not caught. It's literally these darts the grip is so aggressive that it will just slice the top of your finger off. I mean, quite remarkable, really. But he comes across really well as well. I mean, I think Stephen's mentioned in the chat room there that he's humble. I think he genuinely speaks with just an intellect that we don't see a lot in the sport. I mean, for a guy who's speaking his second language, he comes across like incredibly well. He comes across really well informed. I think his view's really balanced. He plays the game really well because he says enough. Let's be honest, he gives you something, doesn't he? He gives you, he gives you the line. He talks about the Premier League. He will get involved in those conversations.
Oh, don't worry, I poked him enough about that.
I thought you might have done, but he does it in a way that's eloquent and that makes sense, and it makes you want to listen to him. And I think that the story from how close he was to jacking, to packing it in, into thinking that, that this wasn't for him, and he's at university and he's studying engineering, and he's got a completely alternative, that there's a multiverse somewhere in which he's not playing darts and he's doing something else instead. And I just think, again, I love the story, and I think he thoroughly deserved it after we'll talk through in a bit more detail the how it came about and various other games as well. But at every stage, it was just highly impressive darts. Really, really. I mean, yes, it was high level. I mean, they were just a scrape under 110 average in the second round, but it's not just the high averages. It's it's winning games and beating people, and by God, what a job he did of it.
Yeah, like this. Van Veen speaks better English than Chizzy. Right, there are lots of questions about ITV in the chat room. We will come on to them at the end of the European Championship bit. I'm not ignoring them. We will speak about it. Don't worry. We don't dodge things on this show, but we'll try and do it in some kind of order. But I've started a couple of the questions, so don't worry, everyone. Yeah, just look at Van Veen. He's beaten Heta quite comfortably. We'll touch on Damon a little bit in a minute, but again, he's averaged 98. Then you say that 110 against Ryan Searle, 101 against Ryan Joyce. The off game was still all but 94, 93, 76, and then 101 in the final. That is consistency. And in a TV tournament, when you can do that, you are always going to be a danger. You're always going to be hard to beat because your opponents are always going to be under pressure because of the things that you are doing.
Yeah, but it was, I mean, the level, and like you said, and he has got that. We see that level from him an awful lot. We do see him reach that high level. I think what was really impressive was that he was winning, he was winning with his B game. And then what we've seen so many players that, and I will come to it when we talk about some of the other first round and second round games, but players who've been there and done it and have the experience that seem to quite often now just will under pressure a little bit. And I thought it was really telling Luke Humphries' interview straight after the presentation. And I think he was right when he said, well, I just hoped he would shit himself.
So it was one of the best post-match interviews I've ever seen.
And it was brilliant, brilliantly honest. Yeah, I thought he would shit himself at some point. And if I'm honest, Phil, so did I. I was watching that thinking he'll shit himself soon, like he was, and he didn't. And he just kept going. And then in the deciding leg, he showed some real bottle, on that stage against a man who has won, virtually everything on big stages and knows what it's like on those big stages, how to get the job done, knows how to tough it out in that final. Then I thought, the exchange of match dart, I just thought it was a really, really good final and a really good, like I say, the whole weekend. Yes, he's won it, so it's brilliant. But the way in which he did it is really impressive. Terrifying if you're another dart player. Terrifying. Well, you look at where he ends up in the rankings, and you just think, well, if he's going to start doing that on the regular, there's some other people who will be. Actually, there will be some people shitting themselves, and it won't be Jan van Veen. It'll be other people for which he's going to start taking their spotting things, which I'm sure we'll get to talk about a lot.
Well, especially because look, he missed match darts. Humphries then sends it to a side. It would have been easy to think, oh fuck, I've missed my chance.
Yeah,
I've done it. But he didn't. That recomposure. And like you say, with 80, with 2 darts in his hands, most people would have gone tops. But he hasn't. He's gone treble 16, double 16. And look, we saw the shots. And the PDC photographer at the weekend, I think his name was Michael Cooper. He was incredible, by the way. He's one of the best sports photographers that I've seen, along with Kieran as well. Some of the images that he got of that winning moment and those celebrations are moments that are captured in time forever, and what it meant to him as well was just sensational. Because look, you'll never forget your first. You can go on and win 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 majors. You never forget your first. MVG always alludes to that first World Grand Prix. And so on. You never forget.
The platform. It's the reason, and it's what makes him that's what allows you to go and do some more, because you have done it. You've proven it to yourself, and you've proven it to everybody else. And every time you've played somebody from now on, they know you can win. And, they know you can, not just that match, but you could win that event. And they know you can, because you've proven it. And it's stopped being maybe. But, yeah, you put yourself in that conversation where your opponent knows that you can win that event, because that's the level that you play at. Yeah, it is a game changer. But good on him. Like, I was thoroughly pleased. There was a lot of good darts played. There was a lot of good matches that I enjoyed watching. But yeah, I couldn't be happier for him. It's really good.
I'm going to mention Luke Humphries as well for a couple of reasons. One, the lad has got a fucking set of minerals on him.
Right,
that bullseye to send us to the decider was unbelievable.
Yeah, clap. But that's what we want, innit? That's why it's good. That's why it was what a brilliant final. And it takes two people. It takes two top level players to have a good final. And nobody wants to watch fucking 11-1, 11-4 in the final. Nobody wants that. We want to see a proper final, and that is what we saw. And it takes two to do that. Humphries was mint.
And also, I put it on my Twitter, and I'm going to keep saying it because I genuinely believe it. For me, Luke Humphries is the best ambassador the sport has ever had, ever. Right? Classy in defeat, immaculate when winning, not big-headed or anything like that. His words afterwards, that I know everyone can say the right things, but some players, they don't mean it. I think Luke Humphries does. He's so humble, and just the way he talks and about Gian and so on, I just think he is the best ambassador the sport has ever had. And I see people slagging him on social media for being boring and so on. I'm like, fuck off, right? I think he is incredible for the sport.
I don't know what these people want, Phil. I don't know what they want him to do. Just go and, I don't know, throw something into the crowd or clip somebody or something. I don't know what they want. What makes a person exciting? Well, I don't know. Maybe they could force deciding legs on bull finishes, and maybe they could I don't know what. I don't know what more people want from somebody. It's bizarre. I don't get the criticism. I really don't. I think he, like I say, he speaks really well. I think he does give you it. He does get involved. He gets in the mix. He has a bit of crack. First thing he did, straight after the match, is his post-match interview. Again, he's honest. I really don't understand the criticism.
I think, and someone said, was it Steve, and said, are you concerned about Humphries losing another final? For me, no, because you've got to get to finals to lose them. If he's not getting to finals, I'm more worried. And look, you see the Littler final from the World Grand Prix. It says 6-1. He was in every set apart from one. Littler's timing in those last legs was immaculate. He's lost the last leg decider here. Am I worried? No. Would I be surprised if Luke was in all finals between now and next year? Would I be surprised? Absolutely not.
No, and he's lost two finals in a row, but the final before that in the Premier League, he won it. So I think it's not, it's not something we can go back, several years upon, and so he keeps losing in the final. It's just two in a row, and I think the story more is he's done back-to-back finals, hasn't he? That's the story. That's where his game's at. That final there was on a knife edge as well.
Yeah, 100%. Someone said, I've lost the comment now. I agree. I think when he's done, he could make a great pundit. Is the thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Look, we've got some clips to play. We'll go back. We'll play something in a minute. But also, I want to talk about Danny Noppert. Look, we know he's not. We know he's not fashionable in brackets, but my God, is he bloody hard to beat?
Picked it. So I am gonna claim that last week I picked the semi-final would be Danny Noppert against Luke Humphries. And it's not very often I get it on the nose, so I'm going to have that one. But yeah, as you say, he is incredibly hard to beat. He is becoming very well established in that top 10 in the world. As others around him struggle for form, he seems to just not, and he's unbelievably consistent and continues to just, like, more often than not, sort of wins all the games he should win, wins a lot of the games that are 50-50, and then, if you're going to edge him out, you're going to have to be the world number one. Like, it takes somebody or something like that to edge him out at the minute. And yeah, I think I picked it last week and I keep saying it. He is a very, very dangerous player going into this part of the year because, turning up, averaging, Dirk van Dijvenbode, looked all right the week before. I think when we did picks in the chat room, there was probably a lot more Dirk than there was Danny in terms of those, what everybody thought was going to happen. Rocks up 105 average, carries a ton plus average through against Aspinall in the second round. Really, really impressive. And like I say, as it goes on, like Players' Championship finals, I think the format, the fact that it's just him, relentlessly chipping legs away off people and then nicking breaks. I think he's really dangerous player.
Yeah. Nels, we've never dodged anything, and we won't dodge that. We will come to it. We're kind of working backwards, so just calm yourself down. Don't worry.
I've missed it.
We'll get there. No talk about Littler getting beat. Of course, we'll talk about it.
Oh, yeah, of course we will. Of course we will.
Just chill yourself now.
We're still in.
Down.
Yeah, we're in the top left-hand corner of the bracket at the minute. Like we haven't fanned out yet.
But yeah, look, I think Danny Noppert. Look, do I think? Well, we'll talk about the Premier League more. I won't talk about this now. But he's just relentless. In just that consistency. Kudos to him. I thought the game against Nathan Aspinall was an absolute belter of a game as well, and just the whole process was superb from Danny. Run to the semi-final. James Wade again doing James Wade things. Look, he didn't really turn up against Luke Humphreys in the quarterfinal, and Humphreys was fairly consistent in that game. But look, the game against Littler, it was 10-7. But if I'm being honest, I think James could have won it a little bit more comfortably. I thought he was much the better player against Luke. And Luke, look, has he had a poor tournament? No. Has he hit those heights that we know are there and we kind of expect of him? Now, look, for years we've always judged Michael van Gerwen differently, and I think it's the same with Littler. We judge him differently because of those extreme levels that he's got. Look, he's put in 2 games, he's averaged 98, 97, 97, 75. If that was anyone else, we'd be going, that's a fairly good tournament.
Yeah, decent. But he's done well there.
Because it's Luke, we're going, wasn't the best, which is daft because it's still a really good tournament, but he just didn't quite have that when he presses the button, goes to the turbocharged place that it happens. Those levels just weren't quite there. He was still very, very good. He just couldn't find that level to get away from players in tricky moments.
Yeah, the gear change didn't look there, did it? Even in the, I mean, let's be honest, the game against Barney was, so I said, do you remember, like last week we said, I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse because it could be shit, and that's maybe not what Luke needs. He maybe needs to get pushed a little bit and maybe needs to get up for it. And he didn't, it was a lackluster opening game against Barney. That, I mean, he won it comfortably, but without really having to dig in really, and yeah, there just didn't seem to be, or he didn't seem to have that gear change available to him against Wade. And I think, about halfway through, it sort of got to the moment where if it was coming, he'd have, if it was coming, he'd have found it, and he just couldn't seem to find it. And again, James Wade will continue to do James Wade things. He'll just continue to get up, keep his average virtually identical. He'll pinch legs off you if you have one off, and that was enough to get him over the line. But again, I think another very positive performance from James Wade. Like, very well established now, number 5th in the world. Doesn't look really a threat of that position being a wobble. I'm going to continue to back him when he's not playing a player called Luke. I think when he's not playing a player called Luke, he probably wins, and he did the other day as well, even though he was playing a player called Luke.
Yeah, look, he's just a dangerous player at the moment, James. And look, we've got a clip to play in a minute when we go through some clips, which is it's a different side to James Wade, which we'll talk about. Players that we need to discuss. It was a very disappointing weekend for the Welsh pair of Johnny Clayton and Godwin Price, both beaten in round 1. Both never got going. Gezi had an absolute mare on the doubles. For the first time, the normal consistent pairing of Johnny and Gezi misfired in a big way.
Yeah, and that was the one that was what I didn't predict, to be honest. That was where I got it wrong because my other semi-final, the semi-final I had in the other half was an all Welsh semi-final. And yeah, you can't please all of the people all of the time, can you? And it's, I think it does show though that even at the very top of the game, there is still a struggle for form and consistency across the board, and nobody is immune from it. And the level of talent is so high that for these elite players, your top 6, 7, 8, 9s in the world, if they're not at it, Johnny Clayton, if you turn up and you average 91, not good enough. Like, because, Gerwyn Price turns up, average 91, not good enough. Because there is too many other very, very good players, and they'll get you. Like, you can't get away with it because the talent's so good. It shows the depth that we've got in the game, and it shows that you can't switch off. But it also emphasises that it's still a mixed bag in terms of form going into this back end of the year.
Josh Rock. Now, a lot of people, including myself, thought he was nailed on for Premier League, and he still might be. But in the last 6, 7 weeks, there has been a dip in Josh Rock's form. Do you think he is in danger of missing the Premier League? And what do you put this little dip down to? Is it weight of expectation on his shoulders? Is he thinking about the things that could come to him if he continued that trajectory and that form and so on? But he's not quite been that same free-flowing Josh since probably the match play. Yeah, obviously we saw those two earlier in the year. We saw that the match play semi-final, the UK Open semi-final, and it's dropped off a bit since then. I think it's a tough one. Again, I think it all really depends on the next few months. The slam. There's a lot of pots to be picked up in the next couple of months between the slam and the Players Championship finals, and then of course the big one. And I think that I don't think anything is over yet. Certainly when we talk about Premier League qualification and things, I think there is so many moving parts, so much to do. What I do think is, there are certain people that everyone thinks are absolute bankers. To me, I think it's a disgrace if some of them are, because I just think it's silly. But if you've only got a couple of slots available, I think he now sits behind Gian van Veen. He doesn't, Gian van Veen has nicked the spot that I had penciled in for Josh Rock. Has no longer got Josh Rock's name in it. Premier League more in a minute, because there are, like you say, there are some talking points around the potentials and so on in that. Again, Rob Cross looks very much out of form at the moment. The release of his dart looks very inconsistent. There's lot dragged low and so on. That's not new though, is it? This is not, after for the whole of this year, after the early exit of the World Championships, and he's sort of been
he hasn't made a single quarter-final all year, which is very rare for Rob Cross, isn't it? It's very, very rare that Rob Cross doesn't make a single quarter-final across a whole calendar year.
100%.
In fact, it's never happened.
Yeah,
he's never gone a calendar year without a quarter-final in his career, which does ring alarm bells, doesn't it?
Yeah, I could completely. I know a lot of chat about Gary in the chat room. Look, by the way, I haven't spoken to Gary. This is just what I was watching because, again, I look and pick up on things. I still think Gary's carrying an injury, and I will try and speak to him. But I saw a lot of grimace on. He doesn't hide it very well. I still think there's an issue with that shoulder. Yeah, I still think there's a genuine issue with his shoulder. He's not one that ever blames injuries or anything like that. He just turns up and plays. But just what I picked up on it quite early that he didn't look, and the throw didn't look settled and comfortable, mainly coming from the shoulder area.
Yeah, like I say, it just didn't look comfortable. It didn't look fluid and fluent, and that's what Gary at his best gives you. You know, he gives you that gorgeous fluency, and the throw is so smooth and rhythmical, and that was lacking a bit, wasn't it?
Yeah. Good evening, Jar. Hope you are good, my friend. We are talking about the P word. Don't you worry about that. Right, we've got some clips to play from this. There's some good talking points before we come on to the next wave. First of all, let's go. No, I'm going to do Gian's last. Let's do Nathan first of all.
No, because of the way that it was dealt with. I've been with Martin for 8 years. I can't. I put my post out about the reason we broke up, and from the bottom of my heart, I'll thank Martin. I'm very good friends with Martin. I love to bits. He's done wonders for me in my career, and it was an amicable split. You know, he didn't want to continue further afield, 5, 6, 7 years down the line. Obviously, I will be around that time, so I made the decision to part ways, and we both agreed on it. And like I say, I'm not going to sit here and say anything bad about the guy. He's been an absolute unbelievable friend, unbelievable manager to me. Can't thank him enough. But you know, life moves on, careers move on, and it was a right decision for both of us.
Real classy response. Look, we know players move on and leave and so on. That was a real classy way to put it out there. I thought I was impressed by that from Nathan.
Yeah. Very interesting. Interesting. Obviously, he hasn't had the best couple of years, so it'll be interesting to see how that then goes with a new team around him or a new stable. It'd be interesting to see what's next from Nathan and what effect that has on how well he plays and the results that he gets. But very classy.
Yeah, 100%. I really, really enjoyed that. That was good. I like this one from Luke Humphreys.
Yeah, I think sometimes when I get a little bit fired up, I'm very dangerous because then I'm very determined and I don't want to lose. I think sometimes when you're relaxed, you kind of, what's the best way to say it? You're kind of open to the fact of losing. I don't know. But when I'm fired up, it's like losing's not an option. And I think that suits me sometimes, but I just can't. I can't do that all the time. If I was to do that, like Gezi does, if I did that for 19 legs, I'd be worn out. I can't. But it was something was firing me up, and I'm proud of the way I come back and finished the game off and really took defeat from the Bulls and won the game. Yeah, I mean, if that was the whole agenda for this week, then that's kind of a shame, to be honest, because obviously being world number one and all that was great, but I'd rather be major winners, major champions, than being world number ones. If I've upset a few media channels for a couple of weeks, then so be it. I'm sure they've had a couple of, things ready to put up, when Luke would have done it, but fortunately I've upset them all, so I apologise, but I'm still fighting, and you know, like I told you yesterday, I'm not going to give it away. I'm going to try my hardest to keep hold of it. And I think that was, it kind of overshadowed the tournament a little bit. I kind of seen it on social media all the time, like, oh, this is what Luke needs to do to win. Maybe he put him under pressure a little bit himself, but he probably will get it in the end. But this is a massive tournament, needs to win. So bugger the world number one. This is a major tournament everyone wants to win. So that's more important than being world number one and the race for world number one as well.
Can we get that on a t-shirt? Bugger the world number one.
I love that. I absolutely love that line.
Can we get that on a t-shirt, please? Who's printing that out? Again, like, you know, very good. Speaks really well. Again, I genuinely do not get. I don't understand the criticism. Like, I think he's got quite a bit of personality. I think he is an interesting fella that comes across really well. I don't get the criticism. I think he's great. Brilliant representative of the sport, and I think he's not giving it up. I think the insight as well is into that mindset that he has. It's really interesting about how he can and can't get himself up for things, and how he can get himself up in different parts of the game, but knows that he hasn't maybe got the sort of the energy or the mental strength to keep that up for 19, 21 legs, whatever that is. But we know he's of an elite mindset, and he is a proper champion. But it was good that he.
I like that. Bugger the world number one. I love that. So that's just such a good
Bugger
line.
Bugger the world number one. I think
But
the less said about that, the better, probably. If I speak, I'll be in trouble.
But I like that from Luke. And Rob, did I have a graphic ready? No, I didn't. If Luke had have lost before Littler, would I have made one? Of course I would, but I didn't have one ready. No. But would I have made one? Absolutely.
You're very honest of you, Phil. Very honest of you.
100% right. This is an interesting one from James Wade.
I do the things like this now just to say to my son that's 7 years old that we all have a little bit of differences, that we can do it. And I told you, Arthur, we can do it. Me and you, mate, we'll do it. We'll take on everyone.
The sport in a whole is going to a whole new stratosphere at the moment, and the emphasis is all on the youth players. But the way you've performed this year, does that just show the world, hang on a minute, us guys that have been here for 20, 30 years can still mix it with the very best?
Yeah, I've been here for 25 years, but as I go back to it all, my son's like struggling like bugger with things. And as I say, Arthur, Daddy does it, and you can do it, and it's really, really easy. We'll just keep doing what we do because we're Wades, and Wades are winners at times. And I'm going to emphasise it because my 7-year-old son will watch this, and it's really magical, and it's really important to me. I'm not coming here all hyped up and like. I'm just relaxed and I'm calm and I'm cool. My son will do good things, So.
Obviously, we didn't put the whole interview out of that, and James explained that it looks like Arthur has got some of the conditions that James obviously has, and we all know at times James struggles to articulate what he wants to say, and I can only imagine what that's like for a 7-year-old to be in that as well, Dan. I know that obviously you've got some experience with that, with the job that you do, and
I've got a house full of kids diagnosed with all sorts, mate. And this is like the first time I watched that interview, I found the full one, if you like. I found it a real struggle to not immediately try and send him a message, because it's rare I can emphasize with somebody as much as that. Like I've got 3 kids, and they've all got they all have slightly different challenges, but so they've been through it in different ways, and it's things that I as my understanding is that they're incredibly similar. to what James is sort of referring to. So I completely understand where he's coming from. I completely get a lot of the things that he says and the ways that he says them when he comes from that point of view. I thought it was a particularly good interview, and I thought it made a lot of other interviews make a lot more sense. Like there's a lot of things that James has said over the last 12 months that make far more sense to me having watched that interview. And I think that's probably a bit frustrating, because nobody should have to give up a part of themselves that they don't want to. Like, and don't get me wrong, we like some good content as much as the next man, don't we? We love a bit of good cover, but I don't think anybody should be compelled to give up anything, certainly about their family or their kids that they don't want to do. And because often I think, my eldest kid's 16, and if I talk about her, I'm sort of, it's not really for me to talk about anymore, really. She's her own person, so it's difficult to have those conversations. But I thought it was a really good interview, and he sort of made some commitments in that bigger interview about that he wanted to sort of do things, I think, in a more sort of public way to help and support that cause, or to help move that forward. And I'm very excited to see what that looks like.
Yeah, 100%. And let's play this one.
Yeah, maybe. I think so. But like everyone said, it like you're due your first title on stage. Like European tours, I had 3 out of the last 4 European tours that made it to the semi-finals. But especially last weekend against Aspinall, 6-3 or 6-4 up, lost it 7-6. That one really hurts, because even though we don't. Everyone says they don't look at social media, but we do. Especially I see it, and everyone said, yeah, he's a fantastic player, but he bottled it once again. It's like, of course, everyone says you're due a major or due a title, but it's always going to be difficult. With this playing field, it's going to be difficult. But thankfully, I got it over the line this weekend, because if I would have lost this final, it would really hurt, and it was always going to be tough to get to another final, or maybe even get the first title. But luckily, we did it this weekend.
World number 7 now.
It's not bad.
Great rise.
Yeah.
I know you didn't want to talk about it then, but now are you in Premier League contention? You've won a major, you're in the top 7 in the world. Yeah. Are you now in contention?
Hopefully. If Barry or Matt is listening, then yeah, I would love to be in the Premier League next year. But, so many people talked about it before this weekend, and it was number 15, and everyone said, he's done nothing yet. He can challenge Luke and Michael, but he's not won a title. Well, I have now. So, if I get the invite next year, I'll definitely be in it.
Yeah, he's bang on. Like, he is. It's perfect, isn't it? Like, he just has this way where he knows exactly what to say, and he knows how to play it. Really, yeah, what a guy. Dead exciting, like really exciting, because if he is at it, and I think he's not, like, he's not afraid to I mean, how many different the names that he just dropped in that interview there, he'll drop Littler, Humphreys, Michael Van Gerwen. Like, he's not afraid to drop those names and make sure that he is talked about, aside those players and alongside those names. He seems very aware of his own game. He's very aware of what people are talking about in the world of darts and what people are saying about him. So yeah, I just, like, honestly, I don't think I could be happier in terms of somebody who I think is good for darts. I think that I can't think of very many things that could have happened this weekend that were as good for the future of darts than him picking that up in the way that he did with a final like that. I think it's absolutely bang on.
Right. So before we move on from this weekend, there was a lot of speculation, because Jackie kept dropping stuff in the show as well. What's the story with Matchroom taking over? So the production, this is of
You need to say this slowly because I've noticed a lot of people who've started to read this on social media are fucking thick. I can't understand it. So you need to do it slowly, ideally, so that everyone can get their head around it.
So after the Players' Championship finals in Minehead, the current ITV contract expires. Finito, done, dusted. Now, we don't know where Darts is going to end up. Look, just looking at process elimination, Matt has already categorically said that Darts will stay on free-to-air TV, which is the important thing. Whether it's on ITV4 or Channel 5 doesn't really make a big difference. It's still on free-to-air TV. They haven't announced where it's going yet. That there's speculation it's going to Channel 5. There are others that are saying it's staying on ITV. Until the PDC release that information, we don't know. The important bit is staying on free-to-air. So where it ends up is irrelevant. The important thing is you can still watch it on free-to-air. The bit that people seem to be getting confused and not quite understanding is Matchroom will be producing it. So the European Tour, the World Series events are produced by Matchroom. Now, and then they send the feed, their global feed, to whoever has bought it. So they'll send it to DAZN, Sport One, Peacock, ITV, the World Series events. They don't produce that. So they will produce all the free-to-air darts going forward from 2026.
Which means, and in a nutshell, so you're not going to get ITV's cameramen and ITV's, layovers and all, and the presenters may be different. You might have a different lineup of commentators, as we see sometimes different between Sky and when the PDC do a Euro Tour event or something.
Correct. So they will have control on the talent, as that's a very boxing phrase, and that the talent. So look, the PDC.
It's a fucking generous phrase. It's a generous phrase for some of them.
So the PDC will pick who presents, who's on comms, who the pundits are, and so on. And look, I genuinely don't know this, if Keytown produce the events, Keytown are the company that does the Euro Tour, it will be the best production in darts, because the Euro Tour is the best production in terms of camera angles. I'm going to say, I've mentioned Dion quite a lot in the Euro Tour streams and so on. Dion is the best darts director in the world. And he has worked for Sky and ITV occasionally, but they don't use him all too much because obviously that they've also got like full-time employees that they have to satisfy, where Dion's a contractor essentially. But he is the best director in darts. I learnt off him when I was directing at the Super Series, and so on. Watching him in action is like poetry in motion. So if Keytown produce the ITV stuff or Channel 5 stuff, fans are in for a real treat, because it will be dynamic, it will be fresh. We will see new camera angles that we don't see from ITV and so on. So from that point of view, if Keytown do that, that is a massive step forward for the production, in my opinion.
Yeah, now, and I think people still I think people still haven't quite got their head around it, in that regardless of what so imagine the PDC are going to produce an event, so they will select their director, how it's going to be produced, camera angles, what footage is going to be used, intros, everything like that. They're going to pick who's announcing things, who's doing interviews. They're going to pick the commentators, everything. And then that image that they make, that will then just be shown on a channel. And could be ITV, Channel 4, BBC One. It could be, and it doesn't matter which channel it's on, because if the PDC are producing it, the result will be the same. So it won't be that it will be better on ITV or Channel 5 or anywhere else. It will be exactly the same, because the PDC are just going to make something in the venue and it's just going to be pumped down a tube and sent out through the airwaves. So it's genuinely irrelevant which channel that ends up on. It makes no difference to what product anybody's. It's not that you'll get this presenter on it if it's on this channel or that presenter. Like that's not going to happen. It's the same product.
Yeah, and look, I know my gut is that we will not see very many of the current ITV team in the new talent lineup. Is my gut. I don't think we will see many of them.
I tend to agree. One or two.
Yeah, I think
is where it's at. I think one or two.
Yeah, Johnny, I can guarantee that will not happen. It will be a mixture of the current ones: Richard, Owen, maybe Charlie. That will never happen, mate. So yeah, just to clear up, that's when they say that Matchroom are going to produce it. That's what it means. So look, Matt Porter has already said it is staying on free to air. It's just a case of where it ends up, and I'm sure we will have that information soon. So that's what that means. Just so everybody knows. Right. After the weekend, Jar, put your seatbelt on. Has the Premier League contenders picks just got interesting? Because a week ago, I think it was quite an easy 8 to pick with I think it was an easy 8 with 10 in contention perhaps. Have certain players dropped down the pecking order? Have players completely played their way out of contention, and has someone played his way in?
I'll tell you where my view is. At the moment, we say the top 4 is guaranteed. You know, the top 4 is a banker. The top 4 is guaranteed if you're in the top 4. For me, he's the next name. He's named number 5 this week. Gian van Veen. He's there. He's there. I don't know how he couldn't be there, because he ticks so many boxes. He's so promotable. He speaks so well. In terms of the media you can do with him, it's so good. The level of darts he's reached is so good. He's won a major. He's going to play in everything for the rest of the year. He's probably going to do a bit in all of them as well. He gives you another international player when, let's just say it, the other Dutch player that's playing there is on the back end of his career, and there is a bit of, you know, succession planning in your big Dutch player that you want in the Premier League every year. I think he's there, and then I think it's a bun fight after that. At the minute, I really do. I think that because they won't go without him unless he has a nightmare few months, then Gezzy's still in as well. I think Rock needs to do more. For me, James Wade should be in. There isn't a reason to not include James Wade for me. Plenty of people will find one, but I think he should be there. And it's a bun fight after that. I don't think. I know there's people think that others are bankers, and I think that's absurd.
So, looking at the tour card race, this has all their money stripped off that they're defending between now and the end of the Worlds, and has round 1 money put on that they've qualified for. So they can add to this, and the World Championship is going to have a huge say. Look, the Worlds 1 and 2 are not going to change unless MVG wins the Worlds. I think that's the only way that Littler and Humphreys won't be 1 and 2, just which way around they are. So Van Gerwen is currently on 3rd with 635,000. Well, I think we can all agree that those 3 done, dusted, we haven't got to worry about. The dogfight for 4th in the world is an interesting one, because remember, that 4th spot guarantees you a place. You're not relying on a pick. that fourth spot guarantees you instant selection.
Depends who you are. That could change. Rules are made to be broken, aren't they?
Rule number one.
Rules are made to be broken.
Now, Stephen Bunting currently 569,250 quid. He only has a small buffer to Johnny Clayton at 540,000. They could potentially switch places at the Grand Slam if one has a deep run and one
And then
doesn't.
there's only 19 grand then to Gian Van Veen.
Van Veen is then only 19 grand off of Johnny Clayton. Then James Wade is only 625 off of Van Veen. Noppert is then only 34 behind Wade. Josh Rock is only 9 behind Noppert. Then there is a bit of a gap. But those top 9,
squeaky in it.
One good run on TV, and you could be top 4. You could guarantee yourself that 4th spot. That's how tight this run is. And with the Grand Slam, the Players' Championship finals, and the ridiculous money at the World Championships, that 4th spot is legitimately up for grabs, which will guarantee you the immortality place, if you will. Mace, how we doing, buddy? Hope you got home all right. Pleasure to catch up with you at the weekend. Mace's current 8 is Luke, MVG, Bunting, Wade Price, Van Veen, and Aspinall. Now,
for me, I think that you've got to swap Aspinall with Johnny. Johnny, if you make 4 finals in a row, to swap him out with the world number 18, I just think I just don't think it's the right thing to do. I mean, people love Mr. Brightside. I get it, but I just think it's got to be at the moment, unless he goes and wins something. Like, he could get there, but for me today, if someone said what's the list today, I can't put Aspinall in it today.
Right,
too many other players playing mint.
We'll come on to him in a second. I'm interested in Johnny Clayton. Now, Johnny is not it. I've seen there's a lot in the chat room that wouldn't have Johnny Clayton in there. Now, as it stands, Johnny Clayton would be world number 5. Off the top of my head, I think that if Johnny Clayton were to miss out on Premier League selection in his current ranking, he would join a very exclusive club of, I think, James Wade and Luke Humphreys to be left out the Premier League as the world number 5.
Yeah.
And that is a bold call to leave out the 5th best player in your world ranking.
Well, I don't think it demonstrates what we should be looking for in the Premier League. Like, I get it's the travelling circus, it's a big exhibition, it's unranked, but all your tickets are sold. Like, I think it's unjustifiable for a player to have had a year like Johnny's had. And if he outperforms Nathan in not so much the Players' Championship finals, I don't think that's as important, but if he outperforms him in the Slam and the World Championships, I just don't think there's a coherent argument against having Aspinall instead of Johnny.
So at the moment, Nathan is currently 18th in the tour card race. However, he is one good run away from being right in that mix. I think if Nathan is anywhere from 12 up, I think he gets in.
See,
I think if Nathan gets himself anywhere around that 12th mark, which is more than doable because the world's money and so on, and he's playing bloody well at the moment, It took a great performance from Noppert to stop him at the weekend. There's big money at the Slam available, big money at Minehead, and massive money at the Worlds. I think if Nathan's anywhere around that 12th mark, he's in.
See, one of the benefits is that he's not defending a whole lot of money, Nathan. That is one of the few benefits.
He's defending nothing.
Yeah, he's defending he's less than 16 grand at the Slam and 15 grand at the Worlds. That's so he's defending really 30 grand, and he's not even got anything. He's got literally a few bob on play. He's defending nothing at 29 and 30. He's defending nothing at the Players' Championship. Well, he's not going, is he? He's not. I just don't think he's. I think that does give him a chance because he's defending so little money.
Yeah. So the other question that the chat room are talking about there, the elephant in the room, is Danny Noppert. Now, I said this earlier. Granted, Danny is not fashionable in terms of that rock and roll dart player that will give you a great walk on, that will get fans on their feet, that will sing his name. When he hits a big finish, he'll turn around and give it large to the crowd. However, when you just sat there at world number 8, and again, the current form, could I see Danny Noppert get into a world quarterfinal, maybe even a world semi-final? Yes, I could. I could make a genuine argument for Danny Noppert to all of a sudden put 200 grand on there and he be in the top 4 in the world and being an automatic pick. And that would really put the cat amongst the pigeons.
Well, it certainly does if 2 of the other players that we've got on the shortlist are Dutch as well. Because I don't know if they run with 3 Dutch players. Maybe, but it's I don't know if they'd want to run with 3 Dutch players in the Premier League. He's done it before. Mace mentions it there. Danny missed out last time. He's picked a big trophy up. It won a UK Open, didn't get the nod. Now I think one of the ways that they've got away with that is, and we've seen it done with others as well, the UK Open is so far away from the Premier League pitch. It's the longest tournament from the Premier League pick, isn't it? So
that recency bias is always
it's a real distant memory that when it comes around to Premier League time, and you sort of remember him in your head as having won one in the past. But was it this? Does it at the sort of calendar year half flicks around, and you're not quite sure where it fits? But again, I think if he picks a pot up, you then start to look like you're just being an arsehole. If let's say he wins the Players' Championship finals, or he wins the Slam or something like that. And yes, it'll do his world ranking no harm. But yeah, you do just look a bit of a dick if you repeatedly allow. It's all right if somebody wins something. Richie Headhouse wins, he doesn't get in. But what if people start to pick stuff up on the regular and you still don't get him in? Then it's like it can look like you're being a bit of a dick. It can look unfair, can't it? And you shouldn't appear unfair. You shouldn't appear to be not doing the right thing by the players that work very hard and represent your tour.
At the moment, I think there are 11 names. Maybe
11 for 8.
11 or 12 for 8, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think there's a lot to happen in the next few weeks, isn't there? There's an awful lot that can and will happen in the next few weeks. It's a big time of year. Again, I don't think the players, whilst I really enjoy it, I enjoy the Players' Championship as I'm looking forward to Minehead. But I don't think it carries as much weight. Obviously, I think we'll see what comes in the Slam, and then it does become about having deep runs because they can't all win the world title. They can't. When you've got 3 or 4, 3-4 of them still in the mix in the conversations coming around to Ali Pally. Well, 3 or 4 of them aren't going to win. 3 or 4 of those aren't probably going to make it to the semis because some other bloody big players. You'd like to think your top 4 are going to run deep in your world championships as well. So what are you looking for from the others? Is a quarterfinal a big success? But is a world quarterfinal enough to justify a spot in the Premier League? Well, arguably not. It's going to get. I think they're going to force the PDC into some tough decisions. I think though, which is good. You want it to be tough.
Just looking at the money for the Worlds, right? And this is where those jumps between 9, 10, and 4 are going to happen. So it's 15 grand just for turning up. Is the thing. 15 grand. If you win, all of a sudden 25. If you get to the third round, there's 35 grand on your ranking all of a sudden. Now here's the big jumps. 60 grand for the fourth round. Quarter finalist, you're getting 100 Gs. Semi-final, you're putting 200 grand on your ranking. Like, look, you would expect the winner and the runner-up to be in the Premier League. So, semi-finalist, 200 grand. That's the jumps that are going to happen.
Yeah, and if you get someone rogue in there, you put, we've seen how many times have we seen a rogue semi-finalist? Like, we see it all the time. And where you get a rogue semi-finalist, he's going to play havoc with this ranking, with the ladder.
Oh, 100%. Now that this is an interesting one. That Chris, Mace, what do you think on this as well? That if Bo had a good run at the Worlds, would she be a surprise wild card to freshen it up?
It's not going to happen, though, is it?
Say she gets
a good idea.
Say she gets to the quarter final.
I just don't think they do it. I don't think they push the button that early. Too big a risk on her, I think. Not as in, I don't think it's fair.
I'm just asking the question. Could it be one that they go? Evening, Rob. How you doing, buddy? It'd be interesting. Yeah, and that's why I asked, Mace. Because that word, commercially, would be insane.
Yeah, and you're right, but they ain't going to sell any more tickets, are they? And there's only so many people that will tune in no matter what's going on. I'm not sure how responsible a decision that is.
That's a different question. Responsibility is a different question altogether.
Yeah, but I think you have to... yeah, it'd do numbers. Of course it would. I don't think it's the right thing to do, but what do I know?
It's interesting. And like I say, these 3 TV tournaments left are going to be huge. Also, this week, it is the final 2, and I can't believe I'm saying this, the final 2 Players' Championships of the year. Where the bloody hell has this time gone?
That's come round quick, hasn't it? That has come round very... It doesn't seem a long time since we were talking about these lads starting at Q School and getting ready for the first one, does it? It seems to have come round very quick this year.
Yeah. Before we touch on this is an interesting one. Fallon was almost in. Now, I get, and the reason we know this, when it was 10 players, if it had stayed at 10, Fallon was in. And the reason we know this is because in the, and Mace will laugh at this because he heard it as well. In the media room, we have 2 screens. We have a stat screen and we have a feed, and the feed is taken from the trucks, so we get the live feed, and they left the volume on, and I think it was in the build up to the final thing, and Wayne went off to do some recording for Sky, and they left it on, and we could hear Wayne doing his voiceovers, and we had the Michael Van Gerwen is Premier League. Then all of a sudden we got Fallon Sherrock is Premier League. The scramble for the PDC team to go and turn the volume off on this
I love that.
was
I can imagine those lads running about looking for pulling wires out.
was so look that there was a voiceover done for Fallon. That's all I'm saying. So
Brilliant,
she
that.
was for them to have done the voiceover. She had to have been very, very close. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder out of interest. I wonder how many voiceovers.
I remember it. It was hilarious.
I wonder how many voiceovers we did. We get recorded. I don't think 12 voiceovers. You know, we'll voice over. We'll get the audio done for the shortlist, and then we'll narrow it down. We know we've got the media pack.
But the fact that was recorded says how close she was. I like that. We're live. Why wasn't I told?
Why wasn't I told?
Honestly, it was so funny. So yeah, look, Fallon was deadly close to being in the Premier League. Let's make always Premier League. So right, going back to my point, right, Minehead, the players have 2 shots left at glory to get to Minehead. We know Michael van Gerwen will not be there. He's currently in Dubai. Flew this morning. He's on holiday. He will not be there. However, there are some big names outside for Minehead. There are players that need a run, need to pick up money to get there. First of all, chat room, what do you think as well? Where is the cutoff? Who is safe with 2 events to go? Where's your line?
It's now as well, is it? It's like, because the bottom, like there's £1,000 between the bottom 6. So there's now in it. It is going to go right to the wire. This will be changing on that last day, which is quite fun. But then you have to have a look underneath and see, well, who's got the ability to grab a grand. Ryan Meikle could definitely get there. He could definitely get there. So could Richard Veenstra. So could Steve Lennon, Matthew Dennant. Matthew Dennant, Keane, Barry, and Menchia Suljovic are possibles. Beyond that, I think it's slim pickings. Ricky Evans is in bother. He's right on the wire. And I'll be sad for Ricky to not get there. It's better for having Ricky in it, that tournament. Any tournament at Minehead is better for having Ricky Evans in it. But he's only in by 500 quid.
Well, going up that list, who would you say is safe? What number would you go, they could miss both tournaments and still make it? Chat room as well. What are you saying? Who are you saying that I can go, they wouldn't have to turn up and still make it?
Gabriel Clemens. Not enough money. There's a lot of £2,000 needed there. The amount of people you'd have to have win nothing, and then the amount of people you have to have win 2 games. There's enough chopping and changing underneath him that I think you're not going to get any more switch arounds higher than that. I don't think.
So, you're saying 27 is the benchmark. Safe.
Yeah, I just don't think there's enough money on offer. With that first round, you get no money in the first round, and then you've got to go deep before you pick up a meaningful amount, which makes me think that I just can't see that amount of movement under Clemens. Yeah. Because you've got people on 25, 24, 24, 23, 23. But once you got to 22, once you get to Menchia Suljovic, like you're then like you're $5,000 back on Clemens.
Well, yeah, look, Mensur Suljovic will have to win 3 games just to make the gap up at the moment.
That's what I mean. And then you need 2 or 3 players to make that up, and then everyone to have a stinker. So I think you can pull the ladder up at Clemens. I don't think anyone. I think he's fine.
Interesting, as well. Remember, there's no draw for this, so and bearing in mind that these can change, but currently Nathan Aspinall, Dave Chisnell in round 1 in Minehead. Bradley Brooks, Raymond van Barneveld.
Don't dislike that.
Ryan Searle, Luke Humphreys.
James Wade, Mickey Mansell.
That'll
have them run into the
That's on stage 2.
That'll be me and Reds. I'll pick that one, Phil. I'll go to Reds and do that one. You can give that one a miss. We'll divide the responsibilities, will we? That's it. Mind you, there's some crack. Gary Anderson against Ryan Joyce is a nice game if we get that. I know these are all subject to a little bit of change. And Stephen Bunting against Nico Springer, don't dislike that at all. Chris Dobie against Peter Wright, I think I do dislike that. If we see a bit of Peter Wright, that if we see the good version of him, but there's some. It sort of reminds us, whilst there is obviously going to be some shuffling because we've got 2 more events, I think there is the potentials of a really lovely looking draw in that. Very good potential, or very nice potential draw in there.
Like one of the little sections here: Ross Smith, Max Hopp, Andrew Gilding, Dom Taylor, Joe Cullen, James Hurrell, Gary Anderson, Ryan Joyce.
Love that. Yeah, there's some. Like I said, there's some nice little section. I mean, that bottom section: Stephen Bunting, Nico Springer, Mike DeDecker, Ian White, Ryan Searle, Luke Humphreys, and Scotty Williams, Alan Suter. Again, there's some nice games in there, and there's some nice potential second round games and third round games even as well. So yeah, I think that is pretty nice. It's giving me a right little it's giving me a right bit of excitement, that, because
I'll tell you what, I knew it wouldn't be long. And today is in. How we doing, buddy?
He's doing better than me, isn't he? Because he's got half decent bait and a pint of Guinness. He's doing better than I. He's doing better than I am after my chicken salad with my sparkling water.
Speaking of Minehead, Dan, are you joining us for a curry on the Thursday night?
Yeah, I'll give my diet a break. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'm gonna get down. I'm traveling Thursday. So what's worked quite neatly actually is I'm supposed to be off work this week, and for circumstances beyond my control, I'm working this week, which has meant that I've got some holidays in the bank, which means I can travel a bit earlier than expected down to Minehead. So I can take it a bit easy. I can cruise down the country and make it down for a Thursday evening curry. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a tournament that I really enjoy, the Players' Championship finals. I know some people don't get as excited about it, but I love it. I love the environment. I love the atmosphere down there that we get at Minehead. I think it throws up, or it has the potential to throw up some gorgeous draws as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to a weekend down there, milling about and covering all of the action with you. It'll be fun.
Johnny, is there another Grand Slam spot now? I think there'll be an extra place potentially goes to the Pro Tour winner, Johnny. I think. Yeah,
because he's already got that. Dan's doubled up now, hasn't he?
Yeah. So the actual qualifier, the position won't go to 8. The qualifier is only 8 spots. So I think that place then goes to a potential Pro Tour winner. So they could get significance on the Pro Tour this week to win that extra one, but you could get a spot in the Slam without having to go to that dreaded qualifier.
Well, because the Lukes have won everything, it does free up more spaces, into the tour. So I think, the Euro Tour winners are all in there. And then I was having a look. I was trying to see who, what the potentials are, because like Gezi Price has won 4, but obviously he's already in there. I'm trying to. So then, who else could we get? Because you can only win. Obviously, you can only win 2. There's only 2 left. Oh, that could be Chris Dobie's got 2. That could be his Wayne.
This is why, for me, the Slam, and we know it's coming next year, why the Slam qualifying needs simplifying to...
Yeah, because it's bonkers, isn't it? I was trying to work that out the other day, and it's very hard to figure out. And then you end up with a load of players on 2, and then it starts to get even more complicated, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, this is why the whole thing needs refining.
It's likely to be, it'll be Heta and Dobie that will be players that have picked up 2 because they're the highest ranked players that have come, but then you never quite know, because who else is on 2? Jermaine Watermina's on 2. So is
Ryan Searle
and Ross Smith. So there is a few. I'm sure we can push. We can make it late to accommodate. We've got another member of the Curry Club there.
Anthony, mate is in the chat room. We can wait for you.
We'll just have a few more rounds of poppadoms while you get there. Send me another pickle tray to keep me going.
Yeah. That can be arranged, but yeah, it just needs simplifying.
It needs to be easier, doesn't it? It needs to be something that someone even like me can understand.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a cry. What's going on here? What's not?
Yeah, and nobody quite knows what they've got to do yet, do they? Like everyone's still quite not sure what they have to do and how they get. I mean, if you go through the qualifier, you're in, aren't you? But it just needs to be simplified. It needs to be more obvious to people.
Right, here's one for you. That chat room as well. I never thought I'd say this. Robert Owen's tour card is in danger on £92,000. I'd never thought we'd get to that point where 92k might not be enough to keep your card.
I don't think 92 is going to be enough to keep your card, Phil. I don't think there's a mite about it. I think if you're on 92, you lose your card.
I don't know, because that still relies on people winning it. Look, it depends on the Worlds, is the thing.
It does. There's some very good dart players.
Oh, I agree.
That will be at the Worlds as well, isn't there? And there's people in very good form. It's going to be, I think it's going to run very tight.
Look, Robert Owen, if he can find a way to, I don't think he's that far off. Let's World Championship race. How far is Robert Owen off? He's further than I thought. He's £4,250 off getting to the Worlds. That if he doesn't, that tour card's at risk, which is bonkers.
Well, it is, but in all honesty, he's, other than that, he had an amazing 3 months where he picked up 45 grand of his 92 between 2 tournaments, like in the space of a few weeks. Yeah. That run at the World Championships bagged him 35, and the UK Open bagged him 10. So he's done, sort of half of his 2-year money have come in like the space of a few weeks in 2 tournaments. And it's a lack of consistency across the board. I mean, 92 is a big number to be around the bottom, but we're going to keep seeing that, over the course of the next few years. Like it is, as the as the prize money go up, we're going to get to the point where 100 is going to feel like the sweet spot. I think like we're going to get to a point where that, as the prize money creeps up, 100 grand is going to feel like this. And I don't dislike that. We have a nice round figure to aim for. That I think if you get to 100 grand, that will make that'll be the equivalent to getting to 40 points in the Premier League. You'll feel comfortable. You'll be like you've got what you need. So I think that'll be the sweet spot as we move further up. But yeah, it's going to run close for Rob. There's a few players breathing down his neck as well that are in considerably, well, maybe not better, but slightly better form.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. Is the thing? It's a really interesting.
Keeping a tour card is very hard these days, isn't it? Very hard.
Getting one's tough. Keeping one's even harder. Look, I think James Hurrell has been absolutely real consistent across his 2 years as a tour card holder, and he's on the cusp. And I think he's had some really good results and picked up some good scalps as well. But you look at it, like you say, with the increased prize money going up. We know the money goes up again next year for tournaments. That number is going to be closer to 100K.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them around there. You're looking on that tour card race. There's once you get below from 50 down over, from spot 50 down over at Nico Springer on that tour card race, there's only 5 players there that have made it to Minehead. So therefore, they are running out of opportunities there as well to pick money up, because there are players below them that have made it to Minehead and are going to be playing in something, or they're at the Worlds, and yeah, it's going to be a rough couple of months, I think, for those lads, especially once these two players' championship events gets out of the way, because what it ends up being for those that aren't qualified for other things is it just ends up a nervous time watching telly, and you end up it's no longer in your hands. You're going to watch other people play darts on TV for whether or not you get to keep your tour card or not. And I just don't think that's never going to sit comfortable for anybody. You want it always to be in your own hands, where if you win matches, you keep your card. But for some of them, they've left it too long, and they're not going to be able to. They're just going to have to watch it on TV and cross their fingers.
Again, just for the sake of content, I've got an idea that it should be written into the PDC contract that if your tour card is in danger going into the World Championships, that on the days that it could affect your tour card, you have to be locked in a box by the side of the stage with TV cameras on you, enjoying or maybe not enjoying the agony of watching people play for your card.
Yeah, I want picture in picture. I want a little box in the corner with me showing the agony of somebody watching along. And then every time there's an interview, I want a microphone shoved in their face. Tell me how it feels now. Yeah. Tell me how you feel. But all for that. And if you don't like it, don't put yourself in that position. Win more darts matches.
Yeah, I'm bang up for the shoulder content that produces. It's like, yep, get on with it.
Yes, please. Yeah, we like that.
I am 100% all for that. The Australian Premier League is getting interesting. Look, I've not watched it all the time because of the times it's on and there's tournaments going on, but I'm enjoying what they're producing in Australia in this Premier League.
Yeah, I think, when we first heard that it was going to exist, we weren't, we were sort of excited, but a bit skeptical. We were, yes, it was great and it's a step forward, but, we weren't quite sure what it was going to produce, what the level was going to be like, how sort of entertaining it's going to be, what sort of a crowd it's going to draw. And for me so far, and sometimes it's a good idea to keep your expectations realistic, manage your expectations maybe, because what that allows is you, like I am, you can be sort of pleasantly surprised by thinking, well, God, this is better than I thought, and sometimes you've got to put your hands up in it. Like we've sort of said, well, we have like gone in 2-footed sometimes on the state of darts in Australia, because it lost its way. And I don't think you can argue against that. You know, it did lose its way completely, and I think it's a real positive step what we're seeing now, both with the tour over there and now with the Premier League as well. I just think it's really, really positive, and we spend enough time, you know. I nearly said blowing smoke, but that's not true because it's accurate, so it's real. So I'm going to say giving credit to the guys over at the CDC, and I think it's only right that we focus on Australia a bit as well, because there is some really good work being done over there. Interesting point from Marcus though as to whether or not we start to get an intercontinental series of Premier Leagues. Do we have we have the Premier League, and then we get an Asian Premier League and we get an Australian Premier League? You know where the next logical step is, don't you?
Oh, we've got the Chinese Premier League, we've got the Australian Premier League. I say Australian, but the New Zealand guy's in there, so I'm going to call it Oceanic Premier League.
Like yeah, we'll have it.
I'm damn sure I want a North American Premier League to follow this.
But I also, do you know where this goes, don't you, Phil? You know where it ends, because this is where you have the potential of, could you get to the point where some of your biggest players in the world go and play in a Premier League? I mean, what does it do for the game of darts in China if you have one of the best players in the world going and playing in their Premier League for a spell?
Yeah. Or I get that, and I like that theory. Or do you have an Oceanic Premier League, an Asian Premier League, a North American Premier League? Where could the fourth one be? Middle East or African Premier League?
You could have an African Premier League.
So you've got 4 sub Premier Leagues from the affiliate tours and so on. Your winners guarantee them a spot of the Worlds. The top 2 from each of them go through to the ultimate affiliate Premier League to be played in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, he is.
Some more coin.
The Spurs fan has just created the Super League, and here we go. He just round and round we go, and they'll still end up suggesting the bastard Super League. No, I get, but I think, and you can call it whatever name you want, but if you've got 4 Premier Leagues, then having the ultimate Premier League, the Golden Premier League, and doing that in a Saudi Arabia, Dubai, UAE, wherever you're going to go, I think that is perfectly reasonable, and also could we realistically expect something like that? Yeah, probably. It's probably where it's heading, isn't it? Get the eyes of the world on it, put some money in there, do something wacky with a different board or a glow-in-the-dark hockey, or people coming in on jetpacks for their entrance or something. I don't know. It'd be something bonkers, won't it? But I'm here for it.
I can get behind it.
Yeah,
I've got to say.
Yeah, 100%. Let's have some up there.
Yeah, I don't dislike it. Do the Australian players play for right to play in the Grand Slam? No, they don't, because I'm pretty sure the Australian Premier League doesn't finish until after the Grand Slam has started. I'm pretty sure. North America. I'd love a North American Premier League. Obviously, you watched a lot of darts at the weekend as well. Chat, I want to get your opinion on this. It's been probably 10 days or so since. Jamie, I'm coming on to that, mate. It's next on my list. Don't you worry. It's been 10 days or so since it was announced that Johnny Mack will retire after the World Championships. I've got to say, Swiss Phil, Mr. Brzezinski.
Oh, he does a good job, doesn't he?
Was bloody incredible in Dortmund.
Yeah, I think he did it. Yeah, he does a really He does a really good job. You know, and I do think we need to, you know, I think darts can be such a fucking like closed world sometimes, and that, you know, we start to think, well, you know, well, who could announce darts? Oh, well, clearly it's obviously someone who's already announcing darts. They couldn't have any, you know, there's obviously no transferable skills involved by opening your mouth. So it does surprise me that we don't look a little bit, you know, wider into the world for someone with an appropriate skill set. However, like, yeah, he does an absolutely cracking job. I thought he was really good. Probably in a circumstance where he's quite conscious that people will have been looking at him. You know, he's a different man on stage doing that job 10 days or so after that announcement was made. So probably more scrutiny on him than ever before. More people looking at it, making comments, getting stuck in on social media and things like that. But yeah, he does a great job, and I think he's a good asset. I think he does a cracking job on that tour, and I hope they keep him going.
Yeah, I thought he was superb. The conclusion of the Challenge Tour at the weekend. Congratulations, and history has been made. Stefan Belmont, we will have a Swiss tour card holder. He finished top of the Challenge Tour Order of Merit. Darius Labanauskas also returns to the tour, Laban. But Ted Everts also, congratulations to Ted as well. Announced today the expectants, obviously not him himself, but his partner are expecting their first child as well, which was announced today. So congratulations to him. And yes, Merverts assemble.
Bow down to the king.
This is not a drill. This is not a... Actually, I'm going to do this. This is not a drill.
Yes. Bow down to the king. Yeah, top news. You know, I quite often will be... I'm often on this stream wearing my... I keep a match one Merv. It's quite loose. It's comfortable because it's a bit loose. But it's... I'm a big fan of Merv. He's a good egg. And I just think it's... Again, like... I'm all for, as much as the sport, I'm about the story. Like, it's what makes people turn their tellies on. I don't care what anybody says. Like, people watch it. Your purists will always watch darts. Your purists will always watch it. Everyone else watches for the story. Sometimes the story's Littler. Sometimes the story's Gian van Veen. I think the story's ace, and fucking good luck to him.
Yeah, look, I love it. And look, he's had issues, still got issues, but
we just can't do no harm to them.
the story though, and the comeback is bloody.
Yeah, of course it is. So yeah, obviously, you know, there's some other talking points with Merv, and but again, you know. This can't do him any harm. Sorry, just saw Rob's last one. Can I just point out, Rob? No, they're not, because that means one of them is earning fuck all. The HMRC are hoping that's the final.
Oh,
they need to recoup. That's what they want them two meeting in the final, not the fucking first round.
Yeah. Another one, Premier League tickets. I'm just looking at the website at the moment. So again, this shows the power of darts at the moment, that we don't know the lineup.
It shows it doesn't matter who's fucking going the amount of time we talk about it.
Newcastle, only hospitality tickets remain. Still some tickets in Antwerp. Again, 25, I think it's a 25,000 seater arena, but again,
big old place, isn't it?
But they've sold. There is a lot sold. Glasgow, Belfast, Cardiff, Nottingham, Dublin, all sold out. Still some at the Uber Eats Arena in Berlin, but again, that's a massive arena, but sold well. The AO in Manchester, only hospitality in Brighton. Some at the Ahoy, only hospitality in Liverpool. A few left in Aberdeen. Leeds sold out, only hospitality in Birmingham. Sheffield sold out, and a few in London. Ridiculous. That is massive.
It's darts has now just become what what every other top sport is. There aren't tickets available for football matches. You can't get a ticket for a football match unless you're willing to pay hospitality, unless you support Middlesbrough, in which case I think they just drag you in off the street. They're begging. I think you can't get a ticket for football matches. You can't get a ticket for tennis matches. You can't top level sport sells out. It's just that's how it is. Darts is the same now. I'm afraid, it's frustrating to people because lots of people want to go, but it's the price you pay for darts being as big as it is, and as the prize money goes up, and with all of that comes quality. Like, we are seeing better darts than ever across the board. If you take the mean average of the way players are performing across, let's say, the top 50 players, darts is miles better than ever. Like, you can look at individuals and you can say, well, when these two players were playing, but you take the mean average of the top 50, darts is better than ever. But it's the price you pay, because that's more money coming into it, that's more focus going into it, that's the development, and then it is what it is. People will be frustrated. Some people will moan in the chat room that they couldn't get tickets and then try and quadruple the price of the ones they got and sell them on. But yeah, it is what it is. People will do what they do.
I've got to say that the PDC actually do a really good job at getting tickets back off the secondary market. We've seen it the last certainly 4 or 5 tournaments, I want to say, that all of a sudden, a couple of days beforehand, we've got 500 tickets going on sale across these dates because we have recovered them from third-party sellers and so on. So look, I know ticket touting in all sports is an issue, and I don't think some do enough, but I've got to say credit to the PDC on this, because they are actively trying to and always getting them back.
Yeah, agreed. It's a very hard job. It's a very hard task, isn't it, to police that and to make it realistic as well for people, because you have to still have some ability for a person to buy a ticket for somebody else as a gift, or you have to have a facility. You have to have the ability for those things to take place. It's a really difficult line to tread, but I think they generally do a better job than we see in most sports, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there 100%. What else have we missed in a week in Tom Sykes won Modus at the weekend.
I saw that.
I didn't see any of it, obviously, because I saw the bits on social.
Yeah, I saw that he'd won it. I think and I think it was a few of the folks in the chat room here that had posted about it. But we like Tom. He came and spent a bit of time with us. Around this time last year, didn't he? At the Live Lounge Live, Tom came and had a good chat with us down there. I thought he did. I mean, we know how good he is. We know he is he's a top player. He's one of the top players that isn't carrying a card at the moment, and you've got to assume that when we come to do those Q School streams, he is a player whose name we're probably going to be saying an awful lot. We're going to be following. You can almost guarantee when we're running those Q School streams, he's going to be the feature game quite often, because I think he's a lot of people's fancy to do well there. He's a cracking player, a nice lad.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Matt. I didn't see any of Matt's comeback, but apparently he didn't play too badly. The fact that he's going to Budapest, so he must have played okay.
He's got a decent doubles partner, I think, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I'm a bit jealous. I love. There's no secret. Budapest is one of my favourite cities in the world. I absolutely love Budapest. So, the idea of going to Budapest and darts it's a highly attractive prospect to me. But I'll be sad to not be able to enjoy that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's superb to see Matty Edgar back. And yeah, look, Tom will be one of the favourites to get a card. Is Adrian Lewis going to Q School? He says he is. Let's wait and see. It is Masters Week. I'm guessing is it on YouTube, Rob, like it was last year? So we got a couple of questions. We've got the chat in Discord as well. That we've got a section called Live Lounge Questions. So if you haven't yet, make sure that you head over to our Discord group. James has asked, what would you prioritize in the new Grand Slam qualifying criteria? I like this. A spot for the Nordic and Baltic Championship and Australian Premier League, or two not yet qualified Players Championship events.
I didn't know it was going to be multi-choice. And I was going to say, what would I prioritize?
What would yours be? And then we can discuss those options there as well.
Place of birth being between the River Tees and the River Tyne, like somewhere in that. We have to be from that region.
Yeah.
No, so I mean, it's because of what it was and what it is now. I think you always feel like you're just sort of like scrambling for something, don't you? I would prioritize things outside of those extra Players Championship events. I think even if it gets Derby in this time, I think I would look more towards into things that take place on the affiliate tours and elsewhere in the world of darts in order to create a more interesting lineup of potentially interesting matches to give more players a chance to develop their game and play on the big stage. I think it makes for a more interesting tournament than just seeing the same players we always see. So I would prioritize going out further afield.
I wouldn't. See, now that it's ranked, I think that's a very, very tough one to do. When it was, look, for me, the Grand Slam was always this brilliant cross-code tournament that we all loved. Now, look, and I fully understand and appreciate that in its current guise, that isn't coming back, because mainly the fact that when they ranked it, that ranking money should and needs to stay within the system. So what would I do? I don't know.
Because you've already got a batch of players that aren't tour card holders in there, haven't you?
Which?
So how many is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's a tour card holder. 6 non-tour card holders, I think. I'm happy to be corrected.
No.
Well, if you have 6, you might as well have 8, mightn't you?
Yeah. I'd like somehow, and I appreciate the difference of there's not a lot of room, but somehow I would like a kind of cross-code tournament brought back.
I mean, yeah, 100%. I don't. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. It's just what that looks like because the problem is at the minute, it used to, what that cross code was, we used to be very obvious, and where you went to for that, that alternative code was very well established. Now I think it's probably it's difficult because where do you then go to that? Do you go to the do you go WDF? Do you go to the ADC? Do you go to Motor Super? Like, where could you go? Yeah. You could make an argument for all of the above, couldn't you? It's not clear enough where you would go to for that second code.
Or does it have to be one? Cross code being, could you take some from Modus, some from the ADC, some from the WDF?
So you could have ADC winners. You could have ADC winners, and you could have WDF winners of various different things, and then you could almost have a qualification event with modus potential, something like that. Maybe I don't know. Possibly. I mean, and then the other question there is, with the greatest of respect to the players that are playing in those formats and those codes, but how much do you then erode the quality? Because there is a potential that it ends up looking like, and like we've seen it, but there's a potential that it ends up looking like one of these World Series events where there's a very clear who the whipping boys are in it. And I don't think that's particularly entertaining, and I don't think it's particularly enjoyable. I don't think it's good TV viewing.
It's an interesting one, isn't it?
Oh, it's certainly interesting. It's like it's definitely it's definitely got. I'd love them to do something with it. It's just, I think it's because I've got such good memories of it, and again, it's that what I enjoy so much is the chaos that can unfold within a tournament, and what the potential matchups we can see is that adds, or it added so much of that. And it now looks just a lot like a lot of other tournaments in terms of those same names and faces, isn't it? So yeah, I'd love it if it was bonkers again.
Yeah, look, I love Martin Adams playing in it, and I remember when Duzzer, the famous Andrew Gilding hug, and
yeah, this is what I mean. Like, this is like, yeah, and this is, this is what you want from it. Is there's a lot of classic moments in there, but like I say, it's not. It isn't what it was. And then, of course, the 2010, that 1 year, that the 1 year in 2010 where the representative of the BDO, or the alternative organisation, managed to get their hands on the trophy. Again, it's just that level of story, if you like, that I think is cool and missing from it at the minute, because obviously we can't get anything like that. We might get a rogue winner. We might get a winner that people haven't heard of. Maybe say the mainstream haven't heard of. We might get a couple of them with a deep run, but the law of averages is that we won't see anything particularly interesting.
Should we open question time, and let's put the chat up. Let's get questions in then. Let's fire them in. Remember, we will be live. We've got a lot of live streaming this week. So we've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm on for the 2 Pro Tours and the Grand Slam qualifier. And then Dan will be on Saturday for the World qualifier.
Yes.
So we have got plenty.
We're having a day of it, aren't we, mate? I'm gonna do a full session.
Yeah.
I'm obviously not working hard enough at the minute, so I've decided I'm gonna take on a bit more. But yeah, full day, full stream on Saturday for the World Championship. And I think that's, once we get those World Championship qualifiers done, like it starts to become nice and clear. We can have much more fun conversations, can't we?
Yeah. We will be finalising. I spoke to Mace in Dortmund, just waiting for a couple of things to happen, but potential. We will be announcing guests for the Live Lounge Live very soon.
How exciting! Yeah, it's my favourite show of the year. My favourite show of the year.
Also, next week we will have more information on the watch along for the World Final as well.
Yeah, we're gonna do a bit of work on that next week, aren't we, for our World Championship final watch along. It's again another very, very exciting exciting show coming up, an exciting little venue. The partnership with Brewdog is an exciting one, certainly if you like darts and beer like I do. Yeah, very exciting.
Do you think Gazzy will play the Pro Tours? Yeah, I do. I think he'll want some sharpness.
Form.
Yeah, you can have an autograph on Saturday. Yeah, Paul, it is a shame that an arrangement couldn't be
Agreed.
agreed. I think, if I'm being honest, it was left a little bit too late to sort out this year, and I hope next year it can be done early enough to get that in place early. I know Jeff Smith has picked the ABC Global. Yeah. He's nailed his colours to the mast. How will Van Dongen do? I don't know.
Same as he did right-handed.
I think, yeah, my gut is he will struggle.
I don't think he's going to fucking win it.
Yeah. We didn't do a sit-down with Mace in Dortmund, Marcus, but I am going to go up to the pub and do one very, very soon. It's with that double session, the two double sessions, it just gives us no time in Dortmund. But don't worry, it is coming. We know the fans want, and Mace and I will deliver.
Oh, yeah. Do you know? So there's a question. If Jan van Veen's in the semi-final, is there a plan? Have they said what they're going to do?
I think the only thing they can do is he will have to accept and have to play in the order it is. I don't think there's anything else that can be done.
Yeah, fact is what it is, I suppose.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Not much you can do. Is the schedule event for over in a year, and it just so happens that, I suppose, when they first started doing this, they never expected the World Youth Champion to actually be winning other stuff, did they? Like, it's not. They didn't think.
Yeah. So yeah, it will just be. It is what it is. He will. If he has to play, a lot will depend on whether he's in the top half of the draw or the bottom half of the draw. Yeah. If he's in the bottom half of the draw, he'll have to play second semi-final, final. If he wins both.
Good on him. He's young enough, isn't he?
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what happened on that one. The crowd was too nice in Dortmund, put Luke off.
Yeah, I thought they were a bit. I thought it
was going to be worse.
Generous. I think he probably did. He probably got himself prepared for a right carry on, and then it just sort of never came, did it? It was a bit underwhelming.
He will be the top half, I think. Yeah. Then if he's the top half, he'll play first semi-final, game off, final.
Love it.
So it'll be.
I mean, again, like who doesn't want to see that now? Because we want to see a first, don't we? We want to see something interesting. We want to see something we haven't seen before. So give us that, please.
100%. I am up for that. Don't worry about that. I'll tell you, you guys have absolutely rocked it today. The chat room has been rammed all day. We had great viewing figures, which has been absolutely.
Oh, just have a look at that. It's been right. We've had a right do today, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been superb. And look, remember, you'll be sick of the sight of us because streaming Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Jar will be in the studio on Thursday as well. So,
is he?
The Housewife's Choice will be in the studio with me.
Really?
Dark Green Thursday.
Ooh, how exciting, man. Mind you, I'm off work on... Hey, do you know what could happen on Thursday? I'm off on Thursday, you know. I'm off work.
Are you?
And I've got to take young Eduardo. I'm going to take young Ted's at a cricket camp. He finishes at 12:30. And from 12:30, I'm around.
Ooh.
It could be one hell of a stream that afternoon, couldn't it? That could be a cracking session.
That could be unbelievable, Jeff.
Yeah.
So if you haven't yet, make sure you like and subscribe. Thursday could be the day. You could have me, Dan, and the Housewife's Choice Jar on the stream. So make sure you have subscribed for that. Remember, everyone, this will be available as an audio only in the morning. So whether you listen to your podcast, you can listen back, or again, just watch it back here on YouTube if you have missed anything. But you guys have all absolutely rocked it today. Thank you so, so much. If you haven't yet, make sure you drop us a follow on all social media platforms. We're available on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X. I'm here on YouTube, you name it. If there's a platform, we have an account here at Online Darts, keeping you update with everything in the world of darts. I've been Phil Bars, Dan Simpson. We have been the Live Lounge. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you all on Wednesday. Make sure you join us.